Hi everybody, my name is Greg Everett. I'm a playwright and performer based here in Fredericton. In my primary creative practice, I write plays about a world of ghosts and monsters using a surreal framework of history and lived experience. This is the world of Burnt Land, and it's based really loosely on the place where I grew up, Burnt Land Brook, outside of Plaster Rock on the Tobic River Valley. And it's right up there. For me, the backwoods of New Brunswick are the landscape of dark fantasy. My childhood imagination filled them with monsters and adventures that my adult mind has warped into twisted allegories for the tensions surrounding contemporary rural life. In Burnt Land, an arm lost in a farm accident is replaced with a grafted-on crow's foot. A formless monster preys on anyone who gets too close to the site of ritual abuse, and all beneath the wings of a spirit that billows over the valley like smoke. I've been writing plays for about 5 years. I studied creative writing at both Concordia and UNB, first poetry and then short fiction. But as my creative voice developed, short stories could no longer meet my need for expression. In 2014, I took a script writing course, which laid the foundation for my current body of work, including the first draft of my breakthrough play, CARRION BIRDS. CARRION BIRDS began as a true story. It happened up the road from me when I was living in Burnt Land Brook. A farmer lost his arm in an accident and then drove himself to the hospital. This became a part of the mythology that I was building in my head. But in my version, he didn't drive to the hospital. Instead, he communed with spirits of the forest and made an offering to ask for help. What they gave him was a monstrous crow's foot and talons to replace his arm. CARRION BIRDS was selected as winner in the one-act category of the 2018 Notable Acts Theatre Festival. It was the first of my scripts to be produced, and in one fell swoop, I established the world of Burnt Land, and along with it, a brand. I call it rural Gothic horror. CARRION BIRDS tells the story of the aforementioned farmer, replete with crow's talons, and his struggles to indoctrinate his niece into the esoteric secrets surrounding the family farm. It also interrogates the ideas of tradition and legacy. Ultimately, it asks the question, would it be better to burn away the old growth to make way for the new? The next installment in the Burnt Land series was Golly Womp. It too was winner in the one-act category of the Notable Acts Theatre Festival, and it was produced just this past summer of 2019. It's a play about family trauma and ritual and dissociation, but at the core of it, it's about a monster, the titular Golly Womp. Clump, 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 here comes the Golly Womp, from down in the gully where it's all wet and muddy. He can smell your blood, and he smells your bones. So don't you go into the woods all alone. Golly Womp is also interrogation of sorts. It asks questions about grief and familial responsibility and isolation, and about fear. This is my creative world. This is Burnt Land. But it's not the only world that I write into. I also write into this world that we're in right now, and I do that through site-specific theater. In December of 2018, I was awarded a creation grant through ArtsNB, thank you ArtsNB, to write the script for a site-specific play set in the old burial ground here in Fredericton. On a deep level, site-specific performances are meant to foster new relationships between people and place, and in some cases to change the way we conceive of and interact with a place. This was definitely my intention with the project, and it was also my intention to summon the world of ghosts and monsters that I am so in tune with in my other work. In May of this year, The Spirit of a Place was presented to the public through a reading. The script allows for audiences to choose their own path through the history of the old burial ground, to build their own idea of what the burial ground is and should be. Several parts of the play are intended to take place at once, with audiences left to decide which parts they see and how. And the action is intended to lead them on several different journeys through the site. I think this is something really unique that I can offer. I would like to partner with institutions and corporations in order to develop site-specific theater in heritage spaces. For example, King's Landing, Old Government House, or otherwise spaces with a story to tell, like renovated historical buildings, for instance. It's an engaging way to bring people into a space and to share your story while also fostering their own. And in my remaining time, I just wanted to quickly touch on my career as a performer. It's definitely a personal pursuit, but it's one that I've become addicted to. I've starred in 2 plays since August, and I had my debut as a stand-up comic last month, which came out of nowhere. I've become hooked on the energy and the attention, just like now. And something that's developed out of that is another unique experience that I think holds a lot of value. I call it pop-up storytelling. It's an event format with the goal of creating innovative performance spaces at unconventional times. The inaugural pop-up was held at Bellwether Consignment Shop on October 30th. It was called Jump Scare. 7 people, including myself, told stories on the theme of Halloween. We were able to draw a lot of foot traffic and generate a marked increase in sales, and the event was very well received by the audience. From that successful launch, I'm now organizing my next event with Picaroons. What I would like to do is go on to partner with more local businesses to continue to make these events happen. In closing, I would like to point out, and if you've been keeping track, you'll have noticed this, that although I've been writing plays for about 5 years, I've really only gained traction in the last 2. That's because even though I had been driven to study creative writing for years, I pursued more traditional standards of living and making money. But my sense of purpose wouldn't let me rest. I couldn't be happy or mentally healthy until I structured my life around my creative vision. 2 years ago, I moved back to Fredericton with the conscious decision to do just that, to follow my sense of purpose and pursue my creative practice. And I would like to think the results speak for themselves. This is an incredible journey, and I would love to share it with you. Please follow me on social media, on Instagram at GULLYWHUMP, on Facebook at Neo Brunswick. Visit my website, neobrunswick.ca. And please, if you're interested in site-specific theater or pop-up storytelling, let's make something happen together. Email me at everett.greg@gmail.com. I'd like to thank you all so much for your time and attention. That's it.